About something a little different. Let's talk vulnerability, trust, and leadership. Why I refuse to fake it and why you should too. There's a culture out there, especially in business and social media, that promotes this idea of fake it till you make it. You know the ones, picture perfect posts, relentless positivity, the flawless facade that makes people believe everything is always going your way. At first glance, it seems harmless. After all, who doesn't want to look strong and successful? But through the hard knocks of life, leadership, and lifting, I've learned that real strength comes from showing up as you are, not as you think people want you to be. But let's clarify something critical here. Vulnerability, in the way I use it, is not about positioning yourself as a victim or seeking validation through hardship. This isn't the culture of victimhood where people angle for points by outdoing each other in the struggle. Vulnerability in leadership is something entirely different. It's an act of courage and strength, a willingness to share the unfiltered reality to build trust. And that trust comes not from seeking sympathy, but from fostering an honest connection. To do this effectively, there's an order to things. Aristotle had it right. Ethos, pathos, logos. In leadership, you need credibility. That's ethos. First, before people will believe in the emotional reality you're sharing, pathos. When you constantly project success, never admitting to failure or struggle, you're not building trust. You're building a wall, one that keeps others from truly connecting with you. And more importantly, it keeps you from connecting with yourself. Because deep down, you know it's not the truth. One of the things I've seen time and again is that when you lead with vulnerability, when you acknowledge where you are, whether it's in the pit of failure or in the peak of success, you're doing something much more powerful than just sharing your story. You're creating space for others to be real with themselves. When people see you standing there raw and unfiltered, they realize they don't have to hide either. And that's where trust is born. So building trust through vulnerability. I spent years as a leader building businesses, lifting, navigating relationships, and I've come to understand that credibility isn't built through perfection. It's built through authenticity. When I admit to my team that I don't have all the answers, or when I share with my social media followers that I'm going through some shit, it's a rough time, I'm not showing weakness. I'm showing the truth of leadership, which is messy. It's complicated and constantly evolving. In my book, The Eagle and the Dragon, I share a pivotal moment when everything seemed crashing down. I was in my mid-30s running a company that was collapsing around me, Boeing executives breathing down my neck, and on top of that, dealing with surgeries that threatened my career as a strength athlete. I could have pretended everything was fine, faked it, to look strong in front of my team. But that's not who I am. Instead, I chose to be real. I acknowledged the mess, and in doing so, I showed my team it was okay to struggle. They didn't need to pretend either. That honesty built more trust than any front of invincibility ever could. And that story was one of my best turnarounds that I did in my history. And I'm going through some shit right now with repositioning and rebuilding my life. But everything in that, the vulnerability is, the world is wide open in front of me. Brene Brown talks about this in her book, Dare to Lead. Vulnerability isn't about oversharing or exposing yourself for the sake of it. It's about connecting on a human level. It's saying, here's where I'm at, and here's where I'm going. Just like I did. It's acknowledging the reality of where you stand without bending the truth to meet someone else's expectations. And in doing that, you invite others to walk the...
All I got to be thankful is I actually had a good, successful career before it. So.
Yeah. It's not... So thus, yeah. Literally my job interview was the day after I got my job. Journey with you. To buy into the vision. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Let's talk about the pit and the peak. Growth through failure. In my endless evolution framework, I talk about the cycles of growth as a series of phases: precipice, plunge, pit, pull, peak, and then the plateau. The pit, the place where things fall apart, where I've been recently, is where real growth happens. It's where you confront the raw reality of failure, not as the end of something, but as the birthplace of the next iteration of yourself. Too often people avoid showing this part of their journey. They want to skip straight to the peak, the highlight reel, the success story. But without the pit, there is no peak. When I share my failures openly, whether in business, lifting, or my personal life, it's not about dwelling on the negativity. It's about showing that failure is a natural part of the process. That it's not something to hide or be ashamed of, but rather something to embrace. As I write in discussing the pit and what that means to success, the struggle isn't just an obstacle to overcome. It's the very thing that propels you to new heights. By acknowledging where you are, by standing in the mess and owning it, you put yourself in position for the pull, for the climb to that next peak. And when you share that journey, when you show others that it's okay to be in the pit, you give them permission to do the same. You create a culture of honesty where people don't have to fake it because they know that being real, being you, is enough. When we talk about authenticity as a leader, the power of connection in leadership, authenticity isn't just a nice to have, it's a must have. People follow those they trust, and trust is built on credibility. But here's the thing. Credibility isn't just about getting results. It's about being someone who is consistently honest, accessible, and real. In my leadership framework, I emphasize the importance of building credibility through transparency and vulnerability. When your team knows you're willing to admit mistakes, when they see you standing in the fire and refusing to pretend everything's fine, they believe in you. They believe in the vision because they know it's grounded in reality. It's a great business book, Traction. There's a powerful message about the importance of leading from a place of authenticity. Leaders who fake it may inspire short-term confidence, but they don't create lasting loyalty. People can see through that facade. They may not call you out on it, but deep down, they know when you're being inauthentic, and that erodes trust over time. When you show up as yourself, true self, flaws, failures, and all, you build a connection that's unbreakable. You create a culture where people feel safe to take risks, to fail, and to grow. That's the kind of leadership that moves mountains. The antithesis of authenticity is the fake it till you make it trap. So let's talk about the other side of this coin. The fake it till you make it mentality may seem empowering. It tells you to act as if you're already arrived, to project success even when you're struggling. But there's a dark side to this approach. When you're constantly faking it, you're distancing yourself from the reality of where you are. You're hiding the struggles that could be your greatest opportunities for growth. And worse, you're reinforcing the idea that failure is something to be ashamed of or something to cover up rather than something to learn from. I love Mark Manson's work in The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. He explains that constant projecting a perfect image isn't just exhausting, it's damaging. It creates a feedback loop of anxiety and self-doubt because you're always trying to live up to an image that isn't real. And eventually, that pressure breaks you. When leaders fake it, they send a message that vulnerability is weakness, that mistakes are something to hide. That kind of culture stifles innovation, creativity, and growth. Do you want to stifle that in yourself? People stop taking risks because they're afraid of being exposed. Start playing it safe, and in so doing, stagnate. The power of sharing vision. There's so much power there. When I share my journey, whether it's on social media, in speeches, or in one-on-one conversations, I'm not just sharing the highlights. I'm sharing the whole story. Because the truth is, the vision isn't built on a foundation of perfection. It's built on the real, raw moments of struggle and resilience. When you share those moments, when you're open about where you are and where you're going, you invite others to join you. They connect with you, not because you've got it all figured out, but because they see themselves in your journey. They see that it's okay to be in the middle of the mess as long as you're moving forward. That's why I don't bend the truth to meet expectations. I don't filter out the hard parts to make myself look better. The raw reality is this: leadership, growth, and success are messy. They're filled with failures, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But they're also filled with resilience, innovation, and the birth of something new. So when I stand up as a leader, when I post on social media, when I speak to a team, I don't show them a polished version of themselves. I show them the real me. And in doing so, create the space for them to show up as their real selves. Because at the end of the day, that's what leadership is about. Not perfection, but connection. Not faking it, but facing it head on, with honesty, vulnerability, and a vision grounded in reality, not fantasy. And that's where real growth happens. And that's where real leaders are born. My store is now live. Go check it out. All of the products from Build Fast and Barefoot, as well as my new ebook. It's a 383-page comprehensive ultimate guide to deadlifting. Absolutely phenomenal. The Eagle and Dragon book. Services are also available for coaching and mentoring. And don't forget to check out the entirely free community. And then alongside of that, I do offer a lot of my educational courses in there and videos for free. But there's the upgraded version. The education portal has just a massive compilation of, there's like 1,800 indexed videos by different movements, issues, as well as hundreds of hours of courses and curriculums. These are entire courses that I built through the years. Absolutely phenomenal. $29 a month. You will not beat it anywhere, along with all the peptide education, physiological amplification, articles on supplements. It's a growing resource. Got some really amazing moderators. We've got 1,500 people in the community to date. Check it out.